Hey team, welcome back. So when we look at average golfers, there's three mistakes that we commonly see them make that cost them distance off the tee. And we're gonna break down all three of them to help you have the best chance to hit longer drives and shoot lower scores. The first mistake that we make is that I see a lot of golfers treat their setup with their driver a lot like their iron. Now we know with an iron we want to make ball first contact and we really want to feel like we're compressing the golf ball. So what a lot of players tend to do is the ball is in the middle of their stance, maybe a little bit ahead of center. Their hands are forward and then as a result their shoulders are pretty level. These are three great keys when we're talking about hitting an iron. The mistake we make is when I see golfers go over and start hitting driver is they take that exact same concept. Their ball's a little bit too far back, they have their hands ahead, and then their shoulders are too level. The key thing we have to change with your driver is we want to make sure that we're hitting up on our driver, and the term we're looking for is we're looking to have a positive angle of attack to launch the ball higher with less spin. So the change that we're going to make based around the mistake we make with an iron when we compare it to our driver is when we set up with driver, we're going to make sure that our ball position is more forward. And sometimes what happens is a lot of players tell me it's on the inside of their lead foot, but then by the time they actually set up and hit that golf shot, it's a lot further back than they think. That's causing them to want to hit down on it. So I like to use the example of the big toe of your lead foot. I actually want the ball position to be in line with the toe of your lead foot. Now we don't want our hands forward either, because again, that's getting the hands to the golf ball first. With driver balls on a tee, we want the club head to get there first. So once we get our ball position organized, I actually like to point the grip or feel like the grip is pointing more towards my stomach so I don't have my hands ahead. And the third one, again, when I'm thinking of launching these drives, I actually want to feel like I have a bit more shoulder tilt than I would with an iron. The ball position helps with that a little bit, but I just want to be aware of those or of that thing, which brings us to our three things here. We're going to set up with the ball position in line with our big toe. We're going to feel like the butt of the grip is pointing more towards my stomach so my hands aren't ahead. I'm going to feel like I actually have a little bit more shoulder tilt to help me launch this golf ball in the air. All right, a good strike there. Now another thing that we can do, this is a very simple little drill. All it involves is a sleeve of golf balls. For players who hit down on the golf ball, they're going to come down, they're going to hit the golf ball, and they would probably hit the sleeve. So one thing that we can do is when we tee up this golf ball, what I want you to do is I want you to place this sleeve one shoe length in front of the golf ball. And now what I want you to feel and rehearse is when you hit these golf shots, I actually want you to miss that sleeve. If we were to come down and have a negative angle of attack or hit down on it, we would hit that sleeve. So we're going to go through our setup here. So I've got ball position forward, butt of the grip pointed towards my stomach. I've got my shoulder tilt here. Now I want to miss the sleeve. All right, ball that took off nice and high, positive angle of attack, tons of distance. That's the first thing. Let's get our angle of attack organized. The next thing that we see for those of you who are losing distance is we have a sequencing problem. It's so common for players in the downswing that when they start their downswing, it's their arms and their upper body that's starting that down. That can cause over the top. It can cause us to slice. It can do all kinds of things. When we see the best players in the world hit golf shots, what we see them do is we know that for them it's their lower body that is actually starting to move pressure into our lead side and starting to rotate before the upper body. This is what we see the average golfer do. This motion here, this is what we see the best players in the world do. We're starting with the lower body. So it's a sequencing thing that we have to fix. A drill that I really like to get the lower body started is called the step drill. And what it is we start with our feet together with the club out in front of us. And as soon as we start our backswing, we make a step and then we make our downswing. And what that does sequentially is that gets our lower body to actually start the downswing. For some of you, you might say, that's starting it too early. But if we look at the fault is for players is that it's their upper body that starts the downswing and the lower body starts too late. So with this drill, we're trying to flip that on its head. We want the lower body to start the downswing and we want to start it early. So I sit up with my feet together, club out in front, and as soon as I start to make that backswing, I take that step and then I make that golf swing. My lower body is starting. It's allowing me to start with the lower body and get some pressure into that lead leg, which can allow me to generate more speed than the player who is starting it with their upper body. So I'll go through it again. Feet together, club out in front of us, and then I take my step. I can actually do it with a golf ball as well. It's a little bit tricky for some, but we'll go through it here. I set up my feet together. I got that really good setup we just talked about. Now I've got my feet together. Now as soon as that club starts to move back, I'm going to take my step. Boy, I started doing that every time I hit a golf shot. That worked out pretty well for me. So that's our second one. We have to set up to hit these shots in the air, but now we've got to get our sequence organized. Now the third thing and the final thing that a lot of players struggle with is swinging at their maximum potential. A lot of golfers are afraid of swinging fast. They think it's going to make a worse golf swing. But if we set up properly to hit driver nice and high with a positive angle of attack, and if we understand how to sequence our golf swing, we can actually start to swing the golf club faster, and that's where SuperSpeed Golf comes in. So SuperSpeed Golf is a 3-club system that has 2 clubs that's lighter than your driver. One of them is 20% lighter, the other one is 10% lighter, and the third one is 5% heavier. Everyone has a limit on how fast our body allows us to swing. And what SuperSpeed does is help us train to break down that barrier to help us increase our club head speed. So right now, if I have a club that's 20% lighter than my driver, I know instinctively I'm going to move faster because it's lighter. And as I start making a few swings and we hear the whoosh, what's happening right now is I'm moving a lot faster than I was when I was hitting those drivers because it's lighter. If we think of rotational athletes, baseball pitchers, javelin throwers, football quarterbacks, to increase their arm speed, they use things that are lighter and then they use things that are heavier. And that's exactly what we're doing here with SuperSpeed Golf. We have how fast we swing our driver and we start to reduce the load of that item to start to move really quickly. And then we start to reintroduce the load. So that was the 20% lighter. Now I'm going to go to the 10% lighter. And again, this is still feeling pretty light, so I'm still able to move quickly. So what's happening right now is my body's used to moving really fast. Now I take something that's 5% heavier than my driver. We think, well, heavier should be slower. But that's not the case because we started light to really prime our body to move quickly. Where now when I give this guy a rip, I'm now actually swinging something that's heavier than my driver faster because I started light and worked my way up. A huge opportunity for so many golfers is training to swing faster. And if we look at the 3 things that we've covered, we know now that we're going to set up our driver like a driver, not like an iron. We're going to have that ball position far enough forward. We're going to point that grip so our hands aren't ahead. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of tilt to give us the positive angle of attack that we want. We're going to work on our sequencing with the step drill to make sure that our lower body is what's starting that downswing, our real power generator, the lower body. And then once we get those 2 golf swing things organized, we can actually start to train for more speed to say we have an improved sequence. Now let's start building speed on top of that, swinging very fast with this lighter club, working our way into swinging heavier clubs faster than our driver. That's our 3 tips. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below. But we believe for so many amateur golfers, these 3 tips will help you unlock how fast you can swing the golf club and how far you can hit that golf ball down the fairway. Thanks for watching.